Sebring. This is a place that has always kind of been mind-blowing to me. The track's built on an old airport, so these uneven pavements, kind of like we joke, it's like the Baja 1000 for us, because it's the most bumps and extreme jolts you'll get in these cars.
It's bumpy, it's challenging for the cars, challenging for the teams, because it's usually very hot here. We've had a lot of weather conditions, and it kind of beats our car up a lot, but we've had good success here.
Turn one, all I'm thinking about through there is just rolling a lot of speed and controlling the nose and having the rear following the front axle all the way up until I'm underneath the O, and that'll take me out as I bounce like a bucking bronco out to the track out curbs. Turn three, you just want to avoid the curbs, and four, getting a good throttle punch, solid squeeze with no over the limit slides. Out of turn 5 that leads you down Big Bend into turn 7, which is the hairpin. Got to avoid the bump in the initial part of the brake zone at the pavement change, and then eyes go to the center pocket of the curb, and you got to squeeze to full by the end of the yellow curb inside right. Eyes go down the track, and it's just about minimizing your bind on the wheel through 8, 9, which is they're not really corners, it's just a twisty straightaway. 10 is a really important corner. It's slightly off camber and super slippery. In the wet, it's absolutely treacherous. And that transitions you into 11, 12, and then you go into Tower Corner, which is the only cambered surface on the entire track, and there's a camber pocket that you want to launch pad out of. 14, super fast, flat out, 130, 140 mile an hour. Flat out through the lefts, touching the curbs, and then big on the brakes into 15. Touch the right side curb. 15 is like 15A and B, and then you brake for 16 that leads onto the biggest straightaway of the track. So it's always the most important corner on the track is the corner that leads onto the biggest straightaway. So you got to be full throttle by the true apex. And then 17 is like same as 1. You have to develop a picture of all of the real estate that you can use. But 17 is absolutely super bumpy and super treacherous because you're going from a parking lot into a tunnel. And when you go into the tunnel, the road really bounces the car, and it's right at your throttle commitment point. So it's a big challenge.
I was optimistic for how practice one started because we received some decently fresh scrubs from Rob Walker's car, our 253 AM machine, that only had about 40 to 45 minutes on it. So we were running on 1.5 old tires from Road America from the previous round. So I was super giddy and this is gonna definitely be when we show everybody what's up, even on scrubs. But I rolled out behind 2 other BMWs, a Pro-Am and an Am car. They didn't do anything wrong, but they were very racy, and I just wanted to practice and get into a rhythm. I bailed. I pulled the parachute out of turn 5 just to get a little space on them, right? I got on the gas out of Big Bend, turn 6, going into turn 7. I turn in at my turn-in spot, and I feel Spidey sense kicks in. I feel a car coming, and I have to turn out of the corner. I just barely get, I barely get missed by this car. This would have been our entire season done because we can't afford to fix this stuff if we break it. So I was upset. He flies off the track out into the grass, and I proceed to go to the next brake zone in turn 10 and just let him know, hey, I'm here. This is me. I gave him a little bit of a communication touch and lost my head a little bit. If I could rewind, I would take that back for sure. But in the moment, it felt completely justified. But I am human, and I learned my lesson. Got called up to race control, spoke with the race director, Brian Till, who is an awesome human. And he's a racer himself. He understands my frustration. I was pure honesty with him. Told him the situation. I got called in because the only thing that was called in was the turn 10 touch. They didn't see the turn 7 almost huge incident that this Mercedes almost created. So They had no idea why I did that. They just thought I was bullying a car around. So I got out of the car, heated. I was around a bunch of people trying to like race me and practice on a Thursday. So I just got out of my zone and stuff happens.
Then we kind of ran out of tires. Zac and I, being grassroots racers and very limited on our backing, we don't have the ability to have the same tire allocations as some of our competitors. So ultimately, we ended up just running around on old tires, and it didn't really reflect our pace on the timesheet, but I feel like we were still very strong for what we had.
But the lesson is get off, right? Because it just doesn't really accept it. That's just so weak right there. Yeah. This is like I have too much scrub calibration. You want to get on throttle right at that bowed out portion and then like maintenance throttle to the tip.
I walked by and I was like, man, I really wish I had a set of tires put on this car. It's like, yeah, we've only run hour plus tires on the 92 car all weekend. So. True about that. I've seen something else on that car. Whatever. We switched the driver lineup for today. Normally I would run as driver 2, but since I'm feeling a little bit sore, the team and I opted to switch me to driver 1. Zac's gonna carry the throne home, or the crown home. So yeah, definitely stoked my boy stepped up to give me a little bit of relief here. Feeling the pain today, but we're gonna tough our way through it and get to the end.
Driver 1 qualifies for race 1 and qualifying 1 and starts race 1. Driver 2 qualifies for race 2 and starts race 2. In John's case, we wanted to limit his time in the seat just because of his back injury.
Coming off yesterday's race, we were feeling really sporty. Definitely very sore this morning. Got in the car, felt like I had a game plan I wanted to execute. As soon as we got out there, I felt the car was bogging, and so I tried adjusting some throttle maps to see if I could get some more out of the car. Ultimately, it just made the car a little too aggressive off the corner. Giving me a little bit of wheel spin, and it ultimately cost me the time. As you can see in my emotion, I'm very frustrated because I know this solely sits on me. That was not the session I was looking for. I really wanted to put us on pole there. Now I'm just gonna have to refocus myself and let this energy go, and yeah.
In Sebring, we changed our driver lineup to I'm driver 2, JCD's driver 1. In Sebring, we laid down identical times. That puts him P5 or 6, and it puts me P17. It just shows you a little snapshot of the caliber of the field as you go from driver 1 to driver 2.
Yeah, I couldn't ever get to power. Nope. Just like in 1. And then when I did, I just forced the rear end around because I was being too much on the rotation.
Yeah, because you dig in and you get the unwind snaps. Okay, everybody's in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, that side of the ball is fucking rough.
I know. I knew I was gonna do that, but. We got a hardship request to run solo with me in the car for Road America, and we capitalized that weekend with a 3rd and a 1st. And that's unfortunately all the points that I accumulated that weekend don't go to John's credit. So I left that weekend with the points lead overall, which if he were here, he would be sitting next level with me because we share the race seat together. So
It's Scotty. to be in a situation that no one really truly except your immediate circle understands. It hurts. I go through days where I feel totally normal and positive, and I never really think down or bad about it. But I've had days where I just get emotional and, you know, tears run down my face just because of how much hard work goes into getting to these spots. Some people can get them very easily, some can't. Mine didn't come easily. Find myself here, my best friend, racing with all of my best friends, brought me back. But it hurts to hear these things, right? Because it's like, fuck, worked so hard to be there. It's like it stings. Yeah, just like that moment. That's that.
Radio check. Check. News, please. Check pedal maps and PC settings.
Pirelli GT4 America is back for the second leg of its triple-header weekend here at Sebring International Raceway.
Yeah, and Jesse Webb and his teammate Mackay Stevens, they really need to make something happen because they lost for more points yesterday behind Zac Anderson. Great to see John Capestro-Dubet's back. He'll line up 5th on the grid today.
He's waiting to the last possible moment. There's the green flag. There's Webb accelerating away. And already they fan out. You can't do it ahead of the start-finish line, so race control will look at that. But look at this field.
5-6 wide.
Starting the race off, definitely did my best to keep the car up front. I made a pass right away into turn 1. Bam, full course caution. We were in a really good spot.
Travis is up to the 3rd spot as you called, Cal.
Perfect
Oh,
stuff.
this is going to be
one.
big.
Full course yellow, guys. Full course yellow. There's a hard impact in turn 6 with the Flying Lizard car.
Double yellows at start finish. Not sure about the identity of the other car just yet. And now we see it is Gray Newell's Heart of Racing Aston.
Affirmative. It does look like a long cleanup. The car was pretty bad.
We see both drivers out of the car under their own power, but those are heavily damaged cars. We restart now in the VP acceleration zone. There's the green flag. Great jump by Harry Gottsacker. He is right there on the Mercedes of Jesse Webb. Is he close enough to pounce? He is not. The fight instead is for 3rd overall as JCD, John Capestro-Dubets, takes a look to the outside of the Pro-Am leader, Matt Travis.
And tires come out of tap, and I get a little wide. Bohm takes the opportunity, and we dice it up. Both of us probably not leaving each other enough room, but trying to.
Side by side from a couple BMW teams, Random Vandals in the 92, Autotechnic the 51, and muscling his way through was Kevin Bohm.
Well, those two cars were that close together at the end of the race yesterday, if you recall.
Travis very defensive here. This is a battle that does not have class implications for Matt. He is the leader in Pro-Am by a healthy margin. But that said, he loves having these silver class cars as a buffer to his closest pursuer, Rush West. Of 17, and that cost him some momentum. Capestro-Dubet, super high commitment around the outside. Bohm, though, still will have the inside for turn 3, late on the brakes. Both of them rolling a lot of speed. This narrows up quickly through here, and Capestro-Dubet just has to close off on Dan Hanley before he lost a position. This is back on in silver. Big move up the inside, straddling the curb. JCD gets to the door. of Kevin Bohm, but Bohm with the parry of the thrust, he's able to answer back.
Great discipline once he got in there. Didn't overdrive it, didn't get his head in over his head. That was wild.
So 12 on 3 on the roof one more time. Yeah, copy. No unnecessary risk, but you got it.
Again, Campestre Dubets with a nice run out of 17. He looks right, now comes back to the other side. To the inside of Kevin Bowman into turn 1. Wow, Travis is stuck on the outside of this.
Oh,
and they do make contact this time. Hanley takes evasive action.
Wow.
Somehow able to get through.
There by Hanley.
Watch this again and keep a close eye on Dan Handley in the white Supra, and I don't know how he makes it through this unscathed.
I don't know, I think Kevin may have just squeezed him a little bit. Tough to tell from that angle. I'm not sure JCD had anywhere to go in.
Coming into turn 1, I went for an opportunity and I tried to commit. I was reading Bohm for what the body language said, and I felt like I did a good job of getting there and committing, and my hopes were we would go too wide and I would be on the more preferred line into 3, and ultimately I was kind of thinking the pass would end there, not so much in 1. And as we get into 1 apex, I felt like I just had nowhere to really go.
We'll see what that car can do in the second half, but for now, the green flag is back out, and Harry Godsacker immediately on the attack, following him through, or at least trying to, is Campestre Dubets. Oh, that was close.
May have been a nudge there. Didn't quite clear JC Webb, and that gives JCD the run. He's up to P2 now.
We caught up about a second off or so. I think we were actually sitting P2, and we pit. Zach gets in.
Alright, but boxing this lap. Boxing this lap, please. Boxing this lap.
Autotechnic makes the call. It'll be Zac Anderson jumping in. Heard from him a moment ago. JCD still lingering back issues from the injuries that kept him out at Road America. They're trying to limit the amount of load he has on himself here this weekend.
I think he came into the pits and we were 3rd overall. My outlap and everything netted us P1 overall. And if it would have kept going, I think it would have been a pretty long and drawn out type of like tug of war battle between Mackay, me, Parker, and Kenton. They went full course yellow.
I haven't heard of any penalty for that incident down in turn 1 between JCD.
No, and we've got a car off. That is Tio, excuse me.
Of course, McLaren off in turn 3-4.
Yeah, so the restart, we were behind the safety car for a while, so there was a lot of opportunity for the tires to roll over Clag and pick up.
We have 13 minutes remaining in the race. 13. They just pulled the car out of the wall in turn 3, fixing the tires now.
Second place, Mackay Stevens. Third place, that Supra of Parker Thompson looking really aggressive on the restart. Then you get to Kenton Cook. They're driving through the red mist at the moment. Here comes Thompson looking inside of Stevens. They go door to door, and Thompson is through. Kenton Cook looking to follow him through, and a big off in turn number 1. That is the John Jesbray-driven Supra. The fights still continue because we're green for the moment. This is for the lead.
They may have got on the radio and given the message to Parker Thompson, go for it. We could finish this race under yellow.
Getting to the restart, we took the green. As I went to the brakes and turned in, I had that feeling of pickup. It like squished on itself and gave me no real direction change, so I hung this outside radius line, just trying to bring the car back. By that time, Parker had slipped by the Mercedes and was right up on my rear quarter panel from the mirror. So when I exited one, I went directly track left. I always do say to my coaching clients to leave a lane for your competitor, and I left a lane. I knew he would go for it. So maybe if I took that door away, he would still like push me out of the way or whatever. I just didn't want to take that chance, so I left him a lane. I was not expecting him to outbrake himself as bad as he did. He really hung us wide out there, and Coke slipped by. Did a really nice over-under, exactly what I would have done, and really good anticipation by him. From my track out of turn 1, I should have just gone all the way to the inside, and then would have been a victory. I realized I was 2 corners away from a win, and
But look who's in front, it's Kenton Cook. From sideways in turn 1 to the lead, and the safety car is out.
And that could be game over in terms of any green flag running here.
Now our attention turns to young John Jesbray. That looked like a pretty big moment there in turn 1. Well, I suspect this race is unlikely to restart. The situation with the tire barrier there in 1. The clock has run out. The checkered flag waves. Hand in the air for Kenton Cook, who takes home the race win, keeps the championship hopes on life support.
It just hurts and stings a little bit because of 2 corners away. That's it. That's the only reason why it stings. But man, pinch me. I'm doing this. I'm at a racetrack. I'm racing with some of the best drivers in the world. We started this weekend with JCD needing 15 points to edge the gap. We are now 3 points in deficit, so we've earned 12 points of that deficit back.